So, Mason, could you start by maybe just telling us, what does autism mean to you?
Autism means to me, it means a lot because from having autism for, I'll say, quite a long time now. Sometimes it makes me feel old, but yeah, it means a lot because from the start, um, I didn't like. Well, I would say I wouldn't talk about autism that much, and now I do. So what it means to me is like to like help other people, um, like know about it because it does amaze me that not that people still don't know about autism, although lots of people have it and lots of people do know about it, and lots of people want to um, help to raise awareness for it because I think I do like seeing when people that don't actually have autism themselves want to learn about it and want to help people.
Why do you think people don't want to talk about autism, Mason?
I think because that like they're shy, they're afraid what people will think of them. Because I I remember, I think it was at the start of Markerfield actually, Kieran, um, Markerfield School my first year because I I recently moved from a mainstream school into like a special needs school, and I say I still wasn't confident, and I wouldn't really speak, although teachers would know about my autism, but I wouldn't really tell anyone about it, and I would be quite shy for maybe asking for help, and that would like kind of link into my autism where I I would maybe like maybe a task in the class I might process it slower and see maybe other people in the class going a bit faster than me. It would it I, and then the teacher would come to me and ask me if I needed any help, and I wouldn't say anything because I'll be too shy to ask for help.
Yeah, and you said there you went to a special school. You went from mainstream to special school, and there's some people out there that think all people with autism are the same. What
Mm,
would you say to that, Mason?
mm. I wouldn't think everyone like all people with autism are the same. Although there are people that have similarities with other people that have autism, but I think the good thing about autism that everyone's different, even if they do have those similarities. Everyone's different in their own way. I, like for example, me, I may not like. I don't like. I sound quite sensory. With my autism, learning that across the years. So like for example, if you know someone eats and they're like that they bang their forks and knives down on their plate really loud, and like for me that's like you know like a blackboard with a chalk on it, that horrible scrape. That's what that's like for me, but for someone else with autism, that might not affect them in that way.
Yeah, yeah, and you said that there's different things that will affect you and others. How have you learned to cope with the things that might affect you, Mason, over time?
I think if you like, I think with autism, if you like, hobbies are very important. With autism, I think because if you find something that like keeps you occupied or maybe distracts you, or maybe you're not thinking about the certain things that do get you anxious and and worried, that helps um through like trying to cope with that.
Yeah. And you said when you went to Markyfield School, you then felt more, you started to feel more confident so you could speak out. What's the difference? What do they do in special schools that helps children like you to do that? And how is that different to mainstream schools, Mason?
Mm. I think the difference between like a mainstream school and a special needs school is that especially like the teachers and people there, like at a special school, you'll notice that lots of people there like have experience with autism, and there are people actually there with autism, and teachers are or have autism training as well, which is good. So you don't really have to explain yourself as much um, to if you're at a special school. But if you're my experience of being at a mainstream school, that just because I would get on with my work and I wouldn't ask for help, um, they think I'm doing fine, like that. But they wouldn't really understand autism. Although I kept saying I have autism, and then they said you're doing fine when I wasn't, and then teachers don't understand as much. And of course, Kieran, with autism, people are mean. You do get people who are mean. So at a mainstream school, in my experience, people weren't that very nice to me. So, but because I had autism, I was maybe in a group where I needed extra bit of help more than other people in the class. People would make fun of you. But I think the big difference between mainstream and special needs school is that special needs are more trained with autism rather than um, mainstream.
So my last question, Mason, in the future, what more would you want to see? What more autism awareness would you like to see out there?
I think it would be really good if mainstream schools, especially, knew more about autism because they might not have a good understanding of it. And unfortunately, there are people that who do get bullied in mainstream schools and have autism and don't get that help they need. And like some teachers just say they're doing fine. But I think it is really important when you find like even just one teacher that you can actually talk to, rather than feeling that if you say something to them that like you might be a bit shy or frightened to say something to them because you might feel like even a teacher at a mainstream school might like judge you.
Well, you're doing a brilliant job to raise awareness as well, Mason.
Yeah, and so are you, Kieran.